Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, share and comment after watching the video. Thank you. Let's go. Story number 1. Am I wrong for telling the lady to seats behind me on a plane she was screaming the whole flight? At the airport now, the lady to seats behind me on the flight was talked extremely loud the entire flight. I had earplugs in and it was piercing my ears. After the flight landed, the lady across the aisle from me looked terrified and said they're on her next flight. I got up and walked back and said, "You guys are flying to Florida next, right? You may want to consider being a little more quiet on your next flight." I had earplugs in and could hear you screaming the entire time. I turned around and her boyfriend called me a jerk. So I turned back and asked what he said. He told me I was a jerk. Then the girl chimes in and said, "We weren't even talking loud." I show them the earplugs in my hand and said, "I had earplugs in my ears to seats ahead of you, and I heard all about Frank's wedding, feeding your dogs, your cell phone bill, the TV shows your mom watches. Am I wrong?" Story number 2. Am I the jerk for not wanting to use my college fund to pay for my brother's treatment? My parents divorced when I was about 7 because my dad had admitted to having an affair. My mom and I moved out of our house and into an apartment while my dad immediately moved his mistress into our house because she was pregnant with my twin brothers. My mom was devastated, but she quickly picked herself up for us. She went back to school and as a result, she continued climbing up in her career. My mom adjusted better to going from a double-income household to a single income and was able to contribute a substantial amount of money to my college fund. My dad, on the other hand, had a harder time as he now has to support a family of 4, sometimes 5, on a single income as his wife is a Sam. My dad did not have much disposable income and so did not contribute as much to the fund. I'm going to finish school soon and I have a good shot at getting into my first choices of college. Unfortunately, my brother, 10-year-old, was diagnosed with a kidney disease which has progressed to where he needs to be on dialysis. My dad is drowning in medical debt, so my mom agreed he no longer needed to pay child support. The specialist had suggested a different treatment for my brother as most other treatments didn't help or stopped working and they are running out of options short of a transplant. Not doable at this time. This treatment is not covered by insurance and costs a lot. My dad can't take out a loan due to debt. Dad and his wife sat me down when I was over and asked if I would be willing to let them borrow my college fund to pay off my brother's treatment. They offered to pay the money back, but I knew they wouldn't be able to. I really don't want to give them the money because I know if I don't get any scholarships, I wouldn't be able to go to the college I want to without going into debt myself. My future would be at risk and I know my dad wouldn't help if I needed it. In addition, the money technically belongs to my mom. I can't just give it away and I know she would refuse to give them the money. My dad and his wife are furious at both my mom and is trying to guilt me into it. I do feel terrible for my little brother. Am I the jerk?
Story number 3. Am I the jerk for not congratulating my brother on his wife's pregnancy? I had to terminate my pregnancy 3 weeks ago due to my baby's brain not forming correctly. My partner and I had been trying for over a year to fall pregnant. I was crying about not being pregnant constantly and even went and seen a hypnotist to get me to stop obsessing. We were just starting to look into IVF when we fell pregnant spontaneously and we were so damn happy. We were halfway through the pregnancy when the DRs were starting to get worried about the scans. To save a long and heartbreaking story short, our beautiful baby would not have survived, and we had no real choice but to terminate. Because I was so far along, the safest way for me to terminate was to birth my dead baby. No words I can write here will come close to aptly describing the pure concentrated hell my husband and I went through in that hospital room. Entering into a hospital pregnant and leaving with nothing but a box of paperwork and some pills is an unspeakably terrible trauma I wouldn't wish upon anyone. 2 weeks had passed and I had been slowly healing physically and emotionally. I had just started to get out of bed when my brother and his wife announced to the whole family that they were pregnant with their Second child only 7 weeks. My mother broke the news to me because they didn't want to be the ones to tell me. At first I was so heartbroken, but then I became enraged. I don't understand why they didn't wait to announce their pregnancy till 12 weeks. As is usually the tradition, they have a daughter already and they waited 12 weeks before they told anyone that time, but this time they didn't. They decided to announce early at 7 weeks. I felt like it was unintentionally cruel to announce it so soon after my baby's death. My baby is still laying dead on a slab in a morgue awaiting an autopsy and cremation, and they couldn't even wait for that. For context, my brother and I are very close and he knew of all the struggles we were having conceiving and then all the troubles with the pregnancy. He was very aware of what my partner and I had been through and how I was coping. He and his wife even prayed over me one day. They are super religious. I am not, especially now, to help God give me a happy, healthy baby. I felt so betrayed and angry that I sent him a text message calling him and his wife cruel jerks, and said he had to have known what his news would have made me feel, and if the shoe was on the other foot that I would have kept my news for a few weeks longer. They could have at the very least waited until the next month. I never congratulated them on their pregnancy and told them that our relationship was over and to not contact me. When I told my mother what I did, she defended my brother and his wife and said it wouldn't have mattered when he shared his news. I'm not sure how he feels about it, as we haven't talked and probably won't until I calm down a little more. It just hurts, you know?
Story number 4. Am I the jerk for changing my middle name to what my birth name was supposed to be? I was adopted at birth. My adoptive parents and I have a good relationship now. But it was rocky for a few years there. They didn't tell me I was adopted. And I found out in what I consider the worst way when I was 16. A spiteful relative told me, not out for my best interest, but they got mad at my mom and was trying to ruin her life. It caused a huge fight within the family, and everyone focused on the drama rather than my entire life crumbling. I finally ended up in therapy at 18 and have been attending on and all for the past 10 years currently on. I didn't speak to my parents from the time I was 18 until I was 23. They acted like I was insane for being upset about all this. Eventually, they apologized and began going to therapy themselves. We've slowly rebuilt our relationship. They have since accepted my search for my bio family, and upon finding my bio mom, have been amazing with her. My bio mom was coerced into giving me up. She hadn't wanted to, but her family all but forced her. She had no support. My parents didn't know this part, but purposefully chose a private adoption so I'd never know I was adopted. My bio mom and I've known each other for 4 years now. She is an amazing, kind and generous woman who is just like me. I spent so long feeling unseen and different. She was like completing a puzzle. My bio dad died when I was 12 and it's devastating to know I'll never meet him. He didn't want to give me up either, but they were very young and again, no support. My bio mom told me she had named me Summer, but my adoptive parents changed it. She understood, but I could tell the name meant a lot to her. I recently got married and I am changing my last name. I decided since I'm changing my last name, I'll change my middle name too. It's got no sentimental meaning versus Summer, which does to my bio mom as it's her favorite season, and I was born on the first day of summer. My bio mom cried tears of joy when I told her. She's so touched. My adoptive parents are pissed off. They say that I've erased them. I kept my first name that they gave me. They say if I had to, I should have just added Summer to my name. Edit, because some people are twisting my words. I'm not mad I was adopted. Given my bio mom was coerced and forced, someone had to. I was not given up out of love. My bio parents love me, but if they had it their way, I would have been raised by them. I'm mad I was lied to for 16 years and by my adoptive parents' admission they never planned on telling me. I cut them off because they gaslight me and refused to admit. They handled it badly on top of telling me I was crazy for being hurt. I do not need to be grateful I was adopted. I do not need to be grateful they loved me or provided for me. Those are basic things that should be done. I am grateful for a lot. but that doesn't change the awful things they did. My adoptive parents admitted my middle name is meaningless. They picked it randomly, it's the stereotypical Murray. So yes, I am sure. Finally, I did not change my name to be vindictive. I changed it to represent both families. I am not upset my name was originally changed. I get it, I'm just trying to form a connection to my birth family.
Story number 5. Am I the jerk for kicking my girlfriend out in the middle of her capstone project for graduate school, jeopardizing the future of her degree? I, 21-year-old, am a twin. We can call my brother Matthew for anonymity's sake. To get ahead of some of the most commonly asked questions, we're identical. We do things in sync sometimes, but I don't know if it's any more common than to people who just spend a lot of time together and adopt each other's mannerisms. I would absolutely say that the twin intuition thing is real. We have 2 older brothers and I love them, but I'm not as close to them as I am Matthew. We have never been away from each other for longer than maybe 3 days. We don't technically live together, but we stay in the same apartment building for college and often just fall asleep at each other's places. My girlfriend, 24-year-old, and I have been long distance for basically our entire relationship. I'm busy with school and the music me and Matthew work on together. He lives about 2 hours away and is busy with her job and her grad program. To make a long, somewhat confusing explanation short, she's staying with me for the summer, working shorter hours remotely while she fulfills an in-person grad school requirement at the university I currently attend. Most of her grad program has been online. This section is not. It's her capstone project, and doing it during the summer basically means she's doing it in double time, so she really has to buckle down and work. I get that. Still, the way she's been treating my brother isn't cool with me. She often rolls her eyes and shuts herself in our guest bedroom when she comes home and sees that he's over. We smoke together and around on guitars together while we work on music, things she used to be fond of but now seems to hate. The final straw came last week when I got a phone call while I was out of her freaking out. She had refused to let my brother in the apartment, so he used the key I had given him, and she lost it. She said her boundaries weren't being respected and that I needed to kick him out. Instead, I told her she needs to leave. She's furious, saying she can't find somewhere else to stay on such short notice, and I'm up the most important class of her life, saying I'm too codependent on my brother and that I should have never told her she could stay when I knew she needed to work and I wasn't allowing her to do so. Am I the jerk? Story number 6. Am I the jerk for removing my stepdaughter's bed and giving it at my daughter and making my stepdaughter buy a new bed? I have a daughter from a previous marriage, 15, Jenny, and a stepdaughter when I got married to my wife. We both have primary custody of our kids. My daughter took the transition decently, while my stepdaughter, Emil, 15, did not. So family therapy mostly with her mom and her, but I and Jenny will come in for some sessions when wanted. Overall, I thought it was going okay. Jenny got a job the moment summer started. She used to have a twin bed, but when Emily moved in with her queen-size bed, that's all she wanted. So she basically saved all her money and bought herself a queen bed frame and new mattress. She loved it. The 2 kids got in an argument. It started out over bread but got more heated. My daughter made a comment about Emily's dad not giving a shit. It was unacceptable. She got her phone taken away for a week, had a lecture banned from her club for the week, and of course apologized. We talked about getting her to do therapy also, but that got interrupted. For context, Jenny is mixed and Emil spray painted slurs on her new bed frame and mattress. So my wife and I made the decision that Emily's bed would go to Jenny until she buys Jenny what she ruined. It's going to be expensive, but she has a job. Also lost in privileges for a month. Her options are sleep on the floor or the couch. I got a call from her father and he went off. I told my mom what happens and she also thinks I am an asshole for this punishment. So update, after a long talk with Emily, she handed over the money for the new bed. She had enough in her savings from her job and Christmas money. My wife handled the racism talk and had a long conversation about her ex-husband with her daughter about him basically abandoning her. Individual therapy for both. Also for people saying a dig at her father is just as bad as destroying property with spray paint. And slurs is just wrong. One was words and the other was a physical. Destroying property. They don't match at all. Story number 7. Am I the jerk for not wanting to meet my twin or have anything to do with his family? My 18-year-old biological parents got pregnant very young. I won't elaborate. For some reason they decided they could raise one kid but not two. I was put up for adoption and my parents have given me a great life. I will be going to university this fall and my grandparents are paying for it. Not all of it as I got a scholarship. I'm not trying to brag. My family has helped me achieve and I would not be where I am without them. I recently turned 18 and my twin was finally told that I exist and got a hold of me. I'm not interested in meeting him or his family. I don't know how they chose him over me and I don't want to know. I have a family that has never once treated me as unwanted and I think I would be spitting in their face to have anything to do with those people. My family understands but my twin thinks in a jerk for not wanting to meet him or my biological parents. Am I the jerk? Story number 8. Am I the jerk for still being good friends with my ex? 3 years ago I broke up with my ex who said they wanted to move and live back to their home country. I wasn't wanting this so we amicably broke it off and we're still on happy friendship speaking terms. We knew we both wanted different things. Short version is she didn't end up moving back, stayed and now is a full citizen. We just kept as friends during this whole time. Nothing more and we're both happy with that. Worth noting we got a dog together where we were dating that I have that my ex still refer to herself as his mum. Fast forward to now and I have a new partner. She does have some emotional baggage and openly admits it and is working very hard on it with a professional, along with some prior trust issues from being cheated on in the past, amongst other things. She has also openly said that she wants to marry me more than a couple of times. At the start date to 3, I told her I still speak to my ex on friendship terms. About once every 3 months she brings it up as well, how I still talk to my ex and I still take the dog to go see her sometimes and go for lunch. I've assured multiple times to her that my ex and I will never get back together. We don't feel that way about each other and that I am very happy in this relationship. I have directly said she is the primary in my life and I'm not asking her to like all of my friends, just to respect the friendships I have, regardless of who they may be. My ex also has made extra distance as to not ruin my current relationship and give space. We see our friendship as nothing more than we have with any other good friends. Current girlfriend calls it weird that she doesn't trust my ex, never wants to talk or meet her, which includes not invited to potential wedding, and thinks I should cut off contact completely. Dog excursions included. I feel it shows that both me and my ex are mature and responsible enough to be able to accept each other's friendship and be able to have healthy conversations without lingering feelings as we spoke it all out years ago. My girlfriend feels that it is strange, not right, and I shouldn't talk to her. She feels that thought of us two of us is always there, and even though it was years ago, it's still not enough time if ever there is a time. She has her friendship circle about it, and it was about a 50-50 split that what I am doing is fine versus what I am doing is strange. I openly tell my girlfriend when I go to see her, as she requested to know. I've said I'm not breaking up a healthy friendship, just because she has some conceived notion that because we used to sleep together makes the friendship as it is right now anything other than what it is. So tell me, am I the jerk for not wanting to break up a friendship which I believe is well-rounded and healthy with my ex, because my current girlfriend finds it uncomfortable, not normal, and triggering?
Story number 9. Am I the jerk for saying that I don't want an expensive tray stolen at a wedding? My boyfriend 30-year-old and I 30-year-old were invited to his friend's wedding. I've met the bride and groom a few times. He has known them for decades. There is a local tradition for each guest to bring a dozen cookies to the wedding. Then at the wedding everybody's cookies are displayed together to make a cookie table. We wanted to participate, so we baked cookies the night before. I have a very beautiful and expensive tea tray. Boyfriend suggested that I use it to display the cookies. I said no, it's a 300-person wedding. I don't want some auntie accidentally taking it home with her. Boyfriend seemed fine with this. We found a simple bowl that was perfectly appropriate for the occasion and used that to display the cookies. After the wedding, as we were preparing to leave and I went to retrieve my bowl, boyfriend told the newlyweds that I didn't want to use my tea tray because I thought one of their guests might steal it. I tried to backtrack by saying that I just didn't want it to get misplaced or damaged, but he called me out on lying. The newlyweds said something about everyone there being friends and family. It was very awkward and we left shortly. I am angry because I told him that in confidence, and he should have known better than to repeat that to his friends, even though they were very close. Am I wrong?
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.